I, when I left the CIA, you get a lot of exercise as a CIA officer, a lot. When I left the CIA, I got a desk job and I put on weight. And I decided I really have to go on a diet. But I didn't know really the best way to diet. So I went to a nutritionist. At the same time, I was diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So the nutritionist put me on a diet. It was 2,000 calories a day. It was up to 200 carbs, up to 20 grams of saturated fat, and as much protein as I wanted, so long as I kept within the calories in the saturated fat. So I cut out like lamb and most beef, not all the beef, but I ate much more turkey and chicken and tofu. Although tofu gives you man boobs, now they're telling us.
That's not true also.
Good, thank you. I only just read that.
And we have a recent meta-analysis that proves that soy does not...
Good, because I eat a lot of soy, and I don't want to grow man boobs.
It's okay, 100%.
So it took me a year, and I lost 70 pounds, 32 kilos.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and it worked. It was hard. But then with the diabetes, it slowed my metabolism dramatically, and little by little, I put the weight back on. Mm-hmm. So in 2021, my diabetes was bad enough that the doctor put me on insulin. Mm-hmm. I was on the maximum dosage of every diabetes medication that is available, plus 4 shots of insulin a day, 5 on the weekends. And I ballooned, fatter than I've ever been in my life. So I went back to the doctor and I said, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm not eating very much at all. And he said, I'll tell you exactly what it is. When you started on the insulin, it brought your metabolism almost to a stop. And that's why you can't burn the fat. I'm going to send you an article to read. I want you to read it and then come back and we'll talk about it. So he sends me this article from The Lancet, the British medical journal. And it was written by a Scottish surgeon. And the Scottish surgeon wrote that he was treating a woman with stomach cancer. And she also had uncontrolled diabetes. My diabetes was uncontrolled. My A1C was 12.1. It's supposed to be between 4 and 6. So she had cancer in her stomach. They took her stomach out. And within 24 hours, her pancreas started to produce insulin again. Mm-hmm. And so he talked to other surgeons and they said, yes, actually, I had the same experience. I had a patient with uncontrolled diabetes. We removed the stomach and the pancreas started to work again. So I called this surgeon in Scotland. I made an appointment to speak with him. And he told me, it works. We don't know why it works. We don't yet fully understand the human body, but it works. And there's almost no downside, no side effects. So I said, well, is there anybody in the United States that's doing this surgery? He said, yeah, there's a surgeon in New York. So I called the surgeon in New York. And he said the same thing. He said, we don't understand why it works, but it works. I said, are we talking about like a bypass or a sleeve or duodenal switch? He said, no, those don't work. He said, the stomach has to physically come out. It's called a bariectomy. I said, is there anybody in Washington that's doing this surgery? He said, yeah, there's one surgeon in Arlington, Virginia. I said, I live in Arlington, Virginia. He said, his name is Dr. Jihad Salama from Lebanon. So I called Dr. Salama. I go to see him. And he says, the problem is this is an experimental surgery, so insurance doesn't cover it. I said, how much does it cost? He said $17,000 with 2 nights in the hospital. I said, I don't have $17,000. So I borrowed it. I went to the bank. I took out a loan for $17,000. I gave him the $17,000. And in September of 2022, I went in. I laid on the table. They put me to sleep. He sat over here with the robot, the toggles for the robot, and they made two little cuts. You can see them, just the smallest little cuts. And he took my stomach out. I ate no solid food. I had only clear liquids for 10 days. So I was completely empty. And my stomach had shrunk. So they cut it, pulled it out, and then they made a pouch out of my intestine that holds a quarter of a cup, just enough to fit in the palm of your hand. And then he sewed me up. So I had only liquids for another week after that. And then I started eating pudding, puree, soupes, things like that. But in the next 9 months, I lost 55 kilos and I kept all of it off.
Congratulations.
And the most important thing is, I don't have diabetes anymore. My A1C is normal.